Hey guys, I'm Casper. I'm about to start an internship at a bank in Julius Baer in Zurich. Um, I've never worked at a bank before, so I actually have no idea what to expect, but I'm definitely expecting long hours, and I'm a bit worried about my German, but I'm definitely most optimistic about pursuing a career in banking and seeing which area would maybe interest me most. I think I'm a good speaker, a good human interactor, and I'd like to see if I could maybe put that to use within a banking environment. But I'll let you know how it goes halfway through. Hey guys, that is week 2 over. It is now Friday and I am officially halfway through. So I decided that I might just give you an update and see what's been happening. So being a bank, it is naturally very, very profit driven. The way that the bank maximizes its profit is it splits its human resources into teams of specialists. These specialists shortlist given stocks or investment opportunities within different financial services, and these shortlisted stocks are then proposed to possible investors, or they are proposed to existing mandates or funds. So here's the obvious question: what is a mandate and what is a fund? A mandate is a pool of capital with very, very set criteria of how the money should be invested, whereas a fund is just a pool of capital which has active investors around it deciding as they go. So my main job as an intern is to help these specialists with their qualitative research. This work mainly involves a lot of reading behind private equities, behind fixed incomes, and aiding them in their decision to shortlist stocks for investors into the bank. Comprising the bank into teams of specialists allows the bank to maximize utility out of its human resources and out of me as an intern, as I can help them in their decisions to shortlist and eventually come up with one entire product which is most profitable for all investors. Now, given that this is such an internationally large bank, it was very interesting for me to draw connections between banking life and some of my UCL modules, such as European economics. The most interesting part of mixing all of my different areas of knowledge was noting the geopolitical nature of the lira crash and its effect on Switzerland and Swiss banking as a whole. I specifically drew on my previous knowledge of exchange rates and exposure to exchange rates and the problems that that might cause within financial sectors, having learned this from my economics modules at UCL. Using this knowledge of exchange rates, I was able to comprehend why the FINMA, the Financial Market Supervisory Authority within Switzerland, may now limit big banks such as our competitors, maybe UBS, Pictet, and Credit Suisse, and Julius Baer. It may limit their exposure to developing markets so that this niche banking environment would not be affected by huge geopolitical consequences as much in the future. Naturally, Julius Baer and all of its competitors are globally exposed banks, so they did have to take a hard hit through the drop in exchange rates and their exposure to Turkey. But at least now, this centrally regulatory system could minimize its effects for the future towards its headquarters within Switzerland. So that's it. That's my update for half my internship, and I'll give you another update at the end. I'll tell you how it's going. Hey guys, I'm back for my second update, and that's it. My internship's over. It's been a month and it's been great, and I thought maybe now I'd talk a bit more about the culture of working in a bank and how it's reflected with me. So the first thing that's definitely notable is that Swiss banks, entirely not like what I expected at the beginning, are entirely transparent, both horizontally and vertically. Everyone's super open, easy to talk to, and everyone is just very invested into your learning as opposed to your utility. So for me as an intern, I was invited to attend interviews from people working into specialized financial sectors, right up to chief investment officers. Everyone was super open and willing to go for a coffee to explain what they do, and they were all very interested in your maximizing what you understand from the bank as opposed to you offering the bank a specific service, seeing as you are still somewhat underqualified compared to everyone else that they have working at the bank already. Nonetheless, although it was such an open environment, no information or proprietary knowledge was shared. I remember a specific time when I was working in fixed income, and a coworker showed me his algorithm using technical analysis, and he told me about the risks of sharing this knowledge or this algorithm program with anyone else within the bank as they might use it for their own gain. Overall, I do find this extremely useful though, as the open and transparent nature of all of the co-workers makes the work and the work environment very stimulating, whilst keeping all this proprietary knowledge personal and not sharing it between co-workers also makes the work very professional. Another thing which I found very interesting is that although there were no CSR regulations in place or any such similar scheme, the banks still had a very socially responsible outlook in terms of their investing and within their hiring. That was most evident between the huge mix of genders, ethnicities, and cultural backgrounds of all of the employees within the office in Zurich. So what were my highs and lows? Well, I can't think of many lows, but if I had to say some, it would be that my German struggled at the start, but I definitely held up towards the end, and I think this might have made a few communication barriers along the way. But between English and German, we were always able to understand each other, and in the end, I do believe it was still a positive, as I've now learned all the same terminology within English and in German, and that gives me a certain flexibility of working in different banking countries should I choose to in the future. So my highs throughout the internship were definitely working with such open and friendly and kind-hearted people that are extremely interested in your learning. Upon reflection, I do believe that made it a very stimulating place to work. But my biggest high at the end of the internship is definitely having a refined idea of what banking really is, and having gained a bit of perspective into which areas would interest me most should I choose to go into banking. So having worked in banking in the last month, I have definitely developed my commercial awareness, and I've got a refined idea of what banking really is. And the areas which interest me most would definitely be more human interaction based. I do believe my favorite parts of the internship were presenting new ideas after having done the research, but certainly within meetings, meeting new potential clients or business partners, and so I do believe that the specialist work within, say, fixed income or private equity isn't quite for me. I would much rather be under four eyes, meeting people and discussing investment opportunities together in a collaborative manner, as opposed to specializing in a certain field and then proposing my work towards a greater good.